you hear me back there?
Yeah.
I'm going to put this down for a second. I'm Josh. I have two kids here, first grade and fourth grade. And to make this meeting a little bit more about connecting, so we don't just talk to the people we know each month, what I'd like you to do, I'm going to give you a short challenge. And I want you, does anybody know the secret to a perfect high five? Does anybody know what the secret is? Where do you put your eyes? Where do you look at? You look at the, who said that? Yeah, you look at the elbow, all right? If you look at the elbow, you get a perfect high five. Can I borrow you? So, if John and I just walk at each other, you have a hand up, you look at the elbow, you always hit it, perfect. So what I want you to do is I want everybody, in a second, stand up, put your hand up, look for somebody in the room that you do not know, or maybe you do not know well. You've seen them at the last meeting, but you don't know them. You walk up to them, look at the elbow, do a high five, and then when you're next to them, you're going to, oh, there it is. You're going to quickly ask them, first introduce yourself, tell them why you're here, who are your kids, what's their grade, and something they like about CMIS, something they like about CMIS. Why are you here as a family? Why are you here as a parent? That's all you got to do. You have these two things to remember. What's their name? What grade are their kids in? You don't need to remember their kids' names. And something they like about CMIS. You have like 2 minutes to do that. Share with each other. When you come back to sit, I am going to ask for 3 volunteers to introduce the person that you just met. Okay? So go ahead and stand up now. Put your hands up. Find somebody new. Stand up. Come on. Stand up and move across. Find somebody you don't know. Okay. If you can hear me, please raise your hand. If you can hear my voice, please raise your hand. If you can hear me, please raise your hand. Raise your hand if you can hear my voice, please. Okay. This is actually like a school classroom technique. I'm sure I see Tyler smiling behind his mask. But I do big corporate events. It's one of my things. And I would like to introduce this tool. I call it the hand of reason. So whoever is meeting, whether it's Laura or anybody in the group, can just say, if you can hear my voice, raise your hand. Then if we use this for the next 12 months, then when you see the hand go up, we can bring the conversation back. Awesome. It was great to see everybody chatting. I connected with John, who I actually knew, but I'll just tell you a little bit about John. He's two kids here, 8th grade, and his 9th grader actually just moved to the U.S. to go to school in the U.S., which is kind of exciting. It's very different. There's 1,000 kids in the school. So hopefully he'll be doing all right, going from this small place to that big place. And he loves this, the meeting and the community and stuff together. So can we just get 3 volunteers to introduce the person you spoke to? This is a great time to, you can go ahead and sit down now if you want. Who would like to introduce the person they spoke to? Thank you. We got one right here. Tell us who you met and tell the community about.
All right, this is Rainy, like Rainy Day. This is her her family's first year here at CMIS. She has 2 kids, a boy in 10th grade and a girl in 5th grade. And yeah, she just loves that the school is pulling out the social part of her kids. Her kids are now social and loving the community. So.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. Awesome. Anyone else? I saw another hand over there a second ago. Who else raised their hand? Did you? Thank you.
Sure. Hi, good morning. So I had the pleasure of talking to Chiang. Chiang doesn't really speak English, and her Thai is so we spoke in Mandarin together. So I hope that this was correct. So Chiang has one daughter here who's 10 years old, and she has lived here for 8 years now in Chiang Mai. Her daughter's been going to school here for 6 years. It's something that she likes about her, that she's already used to coming here, and so she's made a lot of friends, and so that's why she enjoys it.
Can you stand up? Let's do it.
Melinda. Yeah, he come from Australia. Even we not talk about the kids, we just talk about Chinese food. Because he go to the Xi'an, my hometown, learn the Chinese for 5 years. Yeah. So we don't know what's the kid's name. We just only talk the food.
Okay. Just a little mixer to get to know, to try and get people to start engaging across the board, and I think we may come back to that a little bit at the end. Thanks for letting me play with you a little bit this morning, and I'll pass it back. Or am I supposed to do the next piece? Sorry, I think I'm supposed to do the next piece. 1 second. The roles. Thank you. All right, so the PTG leadership group, which right now is volunteer based on people who've expressed some interest, and we're going to be developing some process there so that eventually there'll probably be some additional elections and bylaws and things like that. But the goal of the PTG group and the leadership group, from our perspective, is to, one, be an advocate for parents and families and a link between the administration and families, so that if there's some issues that maybe haven't come up, we can help advocate for things that we as a parents group would like to have. Secondly, is a connector, a bridge, a facilitator, so that we can try and bring all the different parts of the community together, right? So we can figure out, oh wow, look at all these different skills that we have in the community, different business leaders, different nonprofit workers, different educators, different expertise, and different families who have something to offer to enrich education of our kids and our own experience, because we all love the community here. The Mooncakes is a great example today. Awesome, by the way, the Mooncakes. And then the last piece is community development, our community development. So that's fundraisers, that's events like a Christmas party or whatever we have planned. And there's lots of ideas, and if you have ideas, you can bring it to the leadership team and we'll try and put them into action as best we can. So that's kind of what we're looking at as the purpose of our goals, right? Is there anything else we need to cover then? Great. And the next thing I'm going to tee up is the Booster Club. How is this different than the Booster Club? The PTG is not the Booster Club. The Booster Club is a separate group that helps fundraise for sporting events, as best as I understand. And so they're not quite the same thing. So if the Booster Club contacts you and says, we need help with the swimming meet, or we need help with the basketball competition, it's a little different from this. That's more about helping the sports community grow and develop.
Josh, sorry, I think Paul's actually coming. Yes.
Paul's going to come and tell us
He's
that.
right here.
There he is.
Maybe he's coming around.
He's coming around. So, does anyone have any questions about the roles first? Any comments or concerns that you'd like to share? Does this feel okay to people? Raise your hand if you do not have any questions. Excellent. All right, I knew I could get someone to raise their hand. All right, Paul, do you want to talk about the Booster Club quickly? Would you mind? Everybody welcome Paul. You've seen emails from him. Your kids are participating in sports and activities. Thank you for all you do.
Take this off for a second. Hi, I'm Paul McGowan. I've been here for about 8 years. I'm the athletic director and activities coordinator for a few. I just wanted to talk to you today. Welcome back on campus as well. It's really great to see you here. Just wanted to ask today, it hasn't really been a structured PTG activity, but we've always had what we call a booster club or popcorn parents, as it was transitioned from in 2018. The Booster Club was founded in 2007 just by a group of parents. They're looking to basically help out with some of generally the younger athletics grades. So if we have, say, a U10 tournament or a U8, U10 football tournament, U12s, we'll send them off with a few snacks. We do a few activities around school. And it was originally changed to the popcorn parents because from what I heard, I'm not going to say the specified number, but there's a lot of popcorn being sold on C- campus. I know the PE teachers can talk about that on the fields and courts, but that's a whole different subject. I just want to put it out there that if anybody is interested in starting this organization up again, or at least interested just to see what has been done in the past, I know there's plenty here from other schools and probably have even better ideas than we've had before. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to connect with you, either meet in a coffee, at school, anywhere. I'm located, if you know where the dance studio is, I'm at the gymnasium. Feel free to stop by there anytime, any day. If you want to shoot a message ahead of time, I'll be sure to be there. Do you have any questions for me regarding Brewster Club firstly, but athletics or clubs afterwards? Or are we going to do that? Nobody have a question? Put your hand up. All right, thank you for your time. Again, welcome back on campus.
Awesome. So, I'm going to introduce Wei Wei again. Everybody knows her. She wants to share some of the results of the survey that we did at the beginning of the first video. So, big hand for her.
Last time at PTG Meeting, we did a parent survey about volunteering. Altogether, 70 parents filled in the survey form, and we have 35 parents who volunteer to join any kind of activities or events that if there's any need. And that's why we can build such a wonderful PTG leadership team in such a long time. And also we have so many volunteers who help to prepare today's wonderful menu. And we have also other parents offer help in translation or other type of skills or resources like yoga or language training, something like that. Volunteers are always welcome. And if you feel that you want to participate in any events or activities in the coming year, we have plans for that. Please join us anytime, any way that you wish. And for the brainstorming activity, we did a discussion on the role and actions of PTG or as a whole team, and there are mainly 3 takeaways. The first one is parents are calling for to increase a stronger sense of community, to increase the communication between the school administrations and parents. There have been calling for better communication platforms or channels, information sharing, as well as communication with other parents as well. I'm very happy to tell you that Dr. Sherry has seen this, and she has arranged a whole student support team to do some training and to help us to sort these out for the communication part. And the second takeaway is that people are longing to rebuild a stronger sense of CMIS community. Like we want to connect, we want to socialize, we want to be brought back on campus, those kind of voices. So here we are having monthly PTG meeting, giving the chances for people to gather. And there will be more coming as well. And the final takeaway from the activity is that people want to re-establish campus events on campus to inject more fun. There have been calling for International Day, Thai Day, fun activities. And I think activities, well, this is really something that we are looking for. Are you looking for some fun activities? Yes. Okay, so let's listen to Ms. Laura and see what fun activities will come ahead.
We're looking forward to fun activities too. But again, we're going to need your help. 7 of us, or how many of us there are not enough to create these amazing activities and this vision that we all have. So just to let you know, our next coffee morning will be on the 20th of October. So please come and join us and come and see what snack we have for you and the history behind the snack that we have for you. And please don't forget to write your name when you come into the meeting. If you didn't do that, if you could do that on your way out, it just helps us to know how many families we're able to connect with on a monthly basis, okay? And we're looking forward to having the Harvest Festival. So that will be on the 4th of November, and you'll hear more information about that. That's going to be an event that the PTG will be doing alongside Stuco. So we're really excited to do that and to see what we can have there. And then the Christmas market will be back this year, which I know a lot of people are excited about. So that's going to probably look a little bit different too. So please just keep looking out for the emails and the updates about what's happening. And then Teacher Appreciation Day will be in January when we come back from Christmas break. So again, it's going to be another time when we call on community to help us to organise that event, because we can't do it by ourselves, okay? So you can see we're really hoping to have you back on campus more and to be doing events together and to rebuild our community. One of the things that was mentioned in the surveys that Weiwei went through was being able to hear more from administration and about the vision of the school, what's happening going forward. And so we asked Dr. Sherry if she would come, just share a little bit about herself and about the vision for CMIS moving forward. So I'd just like to welcome her to come and speak today.
Everybody, you just need to switch PowerPoints real quick. And I just want, as I'm doing this, I just want to, my slide deck is not as pretty, I'm sorry. I do want to just take a moment to thank the leadership team of PTG. It's a hugely dedicated group of people that had the first meeting and then came back hour after hour after hour. So really, as we start a year after COVID, having groups and people that will engage and really put time and effort and sweat into bringing a school back is, I can't even express my gratitude. So I do want to talk about visions and where we want to go for CMIS. I do recognize that for a lot of folks, if you were a middle school parent, you got to know a little bit about me last year, but elementary and high school, I was a name, and I was in coffee mornings, but you don't know, right? And so I do want to, I think, in a vision of what I do for in education and where we want to take CMIS, I think it is important to know the person that will be leading, and especially who I am and my story kind of goes hand in hand with the work that I try to do in schools. So this is starting my 32nd year of education. I started as a Peace Corps volunteer. So I started teaching in the Fiji Islands. Luckily, because it was where you lived with the community, we had boarding students. I was mentored by teachers who were all about community and all about heart. And that was a transformative experience for me. So when I do work, you're going to see my heart. You're going to see my emotions, because I want to make sure that my focus is on your children and how I help them move forward. So I was a science teacher for a lot of years overseas, in Florida, in Oregon, and I loved it. I did workshops, I traveled with College Board, I was a consultant for College Board that does AP testing, so I did workshops for teachers around the country. But it got to a point where I was seeing things and kids being not served the way they should be served, right? And I usually tell people, like, there's one student. I had a student named Rogelio, and the district and the school had failed Rogelio. And so I got mad. and I decided, okay, I'm going to go into leadership. So really, like, how do we make schools and districts and places of learning, communities of learning, supportive of every child, is really what started me in this process. As a classroom teacher, I'm just going to kind of go by this, and as an educator, I'm all about making sure that kids are thinking beyond what they think is possible for them. right? Our goal is to open up the world for them and to show them that you can take a chance and you can fail, because CMIS is the safest place to fail at something, right? We're going to want you to challenge yourself, we want you to take risks, and then we are going to be there to support you, to scaffold your learning, right? So whether we're supporting you in learning math to a different level, whether you've just made a mistake and you just got in trouble, we're going to also be there to help support you and bring you back and teach you those lessons also. And then I want them to be able to think and grow and reflect on what they're doing. These, I wrote, well, I was teaching in Florida, so it was about 22 years ago. And as I review them, I'm like, nope, this is what I stand by. This would be the core of what I want to do for students. And it really comes down to two people. So I'm a science teacher, right? So there is a science quote of, I might have gone further, but it was because I had foreseen further. It was because I stood on the shoulders of giants. So these are my two giants. These are my grandmothers. And the one on the left, you weren't supposed to notice that. The one on the left had an 8th grade education. And so for her, education was everything. She made sure her kids went to school, went to college. When I was growing up, your education was everything. So when I became a principal, it was her 8th grade diploma and not mine that was hung on the wall. And it will be brought over by my parents when they come to visit, so it can hang on the wall here. But it's that fierceness that I want to bring to the work. So I want to keep a heart at it, at the work we do, and I want to have that steely focus on this is how we keep going and how we keep improving. And a lot of that comes from just the idea of taking risks, asking for help, knowing that we can grow. When I did become a leader, I went into a doctoral program. I'm probably the only person who did their doctorate 22 years after they did their master's degree, but whatever. And a lot of that, what my dissertation and the work I was doing was how do you set up a school, and so that the messages that students are getting, the activities that they're getting, the time that they're asked to think about their learning, challenge themselves, build new strategies, how do you build that environment? And so, for me, the number one vision would be, let's create an environment where everybody, right? Where Dr. Udachai is taking a chance and recognizing that he might fail sometimes, that as parents we're going to fail sometimes, that as teachers we're going to fail sometimes. But as we try to get better, failure's going to happen. We just don't do that again. We just try something else, right? We always have to be improving. And if we are living that, then the kids will see it and it will become embedded. Because that really is how we are going to send them into the world with the skills, the mindsets, and the strength and the confidence in themselves that they will be able to get through anything that comes up. So that's my why. And that is why I still work in schools. And why I get up in the morning and I'm here to do this work. I want to talk a little bit about how we're going to get there and then what the product's going to be. So you've seen these in slightly different words. They are the major learner needs that we're working on this year, but they really do focus on all of those areas that we're talking about, right? Making sure that we are a strong community that's able to have difficult conversations and support our kids and challenge them. Making sure students have the coping strategies, that they know how to ask for help, that they're able to problem solve, goal set, do all of those things. And then where my heart and where I just kind of geek out on things is those instructional practices. How do we as a school examine our instructional practices and figure out how we are supporting all students? And in supporting all students, that means challenging those that are already excelling. How do we keep pushing them to higher levels? How do we bring up students who are struggling? And how do we make it so that it's rigorous for students, it's relevant for students, and that they're engaged and ready to go and do that? So that's the work that as a leadership team we're really focused on this year, is how do we bring that growth mindset culture and build this community so that we're moving together. How do we bring in more social emotional learning so that we are helping students with anxiety, that we're helping them with suicidal ideations, if that's the case, right? Like really not being, as all of us, not being afraid to have difficult conversations if it helps students build skills that they will need later on. So as we look at it, CMS, the product is really good, right? Class of 2022, great universities. We look at math testing. We have students that are excelling. We know that students are successful, okay? But we also know that we want to keep that going. We want students to be able to celebrate their successes, celebrate the learning that's happened after they just messed everything up, right? Like, when you struggle and when you fail, that's when you learn the most, and that needs to be part of their thought process. We also want to have students that are able to follow their passions, right? As they're in these developmental years, the world is opening up for them, giving them the time and the space for them to explore interest, explore passions, and having us be there to say, yep, how do we help you do that? An environment, I'll say it over and over again, this environment that supports growth, not perfection, we'll support excellence also, but it's the growth and the learning and how we're doing that's going to be what matters. And an instruction that's in challenging them and helping them develop those skills so that when they leave CMIS and they're in those university classrooms, they know all the strategies they need to be able to access the content, to be able to excel, and to be able to follow and go beyond what they think of their own potential. But that work, when you focus in on the students, the impacts come from everybody in the building, right? So part of my work and part of my vision is how I then support teachers. And the teachers, right? We're a curious bunch. But teachers love, right? We have the perfect opportunity to start and set some goals in August and to reflect on how we did and then to set new goals. So when you are a teacher, you are always having the opportunity to challenge yourself, to set new goals, and to look for ways to learn and improve what you do in the class, following your passions as well. So that becomes what I can do for teachers, right? Setting up a culture and environment where we are pushing professional development. You want to go learn that? Yes, please go learn that. Can you bring it back and share it with your peers? Please do that, right? Let's be having those conversations about the teaching that we do so that we are all growing, all learning, all improving, and we're able to be innovative. We're able to challenge our own self and our profession. So that's my goal for teachers. And then you guys are a huge part of this, right? Like, I really feel like it becomes a partnership between us for setting up our students up for success. So engagement, right? And for each of these meetings, we're having people come and present some of the work that's happening here. We're also looking for different ways to kind of engage you in different ways, and that will be coming on. I'm going to be transparent. I will have difficult conversations. Like I said, I think we need to have a conversation about mental health and about how we really work with students to support them. And so there will be some topics that we're going to talk about that are going to be difficult, and I'm going to ask you to have faith and know that we'll get to where we need to get to. And then just continue building this community. As we start new and back on campus, I think the first things that we've done are trying to reset the foundation of how everything's going. And part of that is, students have been on and off campus for the last couple of years, so building that community, getting activities, getting sports days, getting spirit weeks, that's coming back. Showing them how to really safely navigate their world. You'll be hearing as we do like the child protection pieces. We have re-examined the child protection policy and safe environment policy. We've set up a team. We're working to get other supports and other trainings for teachers so that we are going beyond just the check, we have that, into like, no, how do we actually build capacity across the school to support students, to recognize when there's an issue and to intervene when there's an issue. And I've been very grateful for parent feedback and help because I am new to Thailand. And so resources, if any ideas, resources, please reach out. One of those ways to keep kids safe is our digital citizenship. And so I do want to ask Mr. Chauncey to come up and talk a little bit about digital citizenship here.
My name is Chauncey Felton, and this is my 9th year here at CMIS, and I work as an instructional technology coach. So to continue what Dr. Sherry was saying, we've come back from these years of being away and at home, online learning, trying to figure out how to get students back in the classroom to the way that schools ran before the pandemic. And so one of the things that you've noticed yourselves as parents, computers and technologies, there's an ever-present issue. It's a tool. There's all kinds of things that come along with computers and phones and devices. So one thing that we're doing here at CMIS is we were able to last year start implementing this common sense media in the elementary classes from grades second grade up through grade 5. And then in the middle school, they also have some, grades 6, 7, and 8 running through these digital citizenship classes as well. High school, that's when the students begin to branch out. They're not so much in their main class groups anymore. That's in progress this year of continuing those lessons with students. This is something that we've done even years before. Back when I first arrived, elementary did have these digital citizenship classes, but we're aware that, again, technology always changes. There's always something new, something to be aware of. And so part of the activities that you mentioned, there's a hope that maybe this year some of those can be to involve you as parents in this digital citizenship, this push to learn more about what's happening with these devices and our students. And if you go back to that previous slide, this website, what we use for our curriculum, is also a great tool for parents. And if you go to commonssense.org, they'll have a lot of information about movies or games if you see that your kids are interested in these things, but maybe you feel you don't have enough time to figure out what it is that your kid is interested in. They're a good source to go to find out what's going on in these games or apps or movies, whatever it might be. And we as a school are going to be using that as well, looking at some of the ways that we use Chromebooks and devices here at school, hopefully being able to communicate that with you as parents, like Dr. Sherry said, being transparent with you as we make changes, and always keep that idea of student safety and mental health, with oftentimes devices sometimes being able to play a part of that as well. So Common Sense Meet. I encourage you to check it out as a parent, and then we'll keep you updated as the year goes along with how we do that as a school year.
Thank you. We also have a great support team here, both in counseling and our student support center and teachers. And these are folks that are also working to reach out to you either through websites, through workshops, through supports that we're going to be providing for teachers as well. And so I just wanted to make sure that you knew everyone that was here. Nurse Siam was here a little bit earlier, and for those people that were on the coffee mornings last year, she was like, do you need me to say anything? And I was like, we're going to try not to say COVID in a parent PTG meeting this year. So these people here, they're also available, so reach out. If you have a concern, if you have a question, please know that the people at CIMS want to hear from you. Any and everybody. You can reach out to the principals, you can reach out to support staff, you can reach out to me. We just want to be there to support. I am going to ask Doug is going to come up, high school counselor is going to come up and talk a little bit about some of the work the counseling department is doing to support students.
Thanks, Dr. Sherry. And I'm not going to look at you while I say this because you're going to be mad at me. I would never assume to talk for all the staff and faculty at the school, but I can tell you that everyone I talk to is thrilled with Sherry's leadership. Let's embarrass her and give her a round of applause. So I figured I'd start with, you hear SEL, SEL. What is SEL? This graphic explains it much better than I could, so I'm just going to read through it with you if you don't mind. So social and emotional learning so in elementary school and middle school, we have a curriculum called Second STEM that is used internationally and is in the classroom, taught by a counselor and or teacher, and it's about social and emotional learning. We're lagging in the high school, not just our high school, but all high schools around the world. It tends to be that we take care of this in middle and elementary, and then it drops in high school, and we start focusing solely on academics. So thankfully, again, back to Sherry's leadership and her interest, her passion for SEL, we're slowly making grounds there. So SEL, it's self-awareness, responsible decision-making, relationship skills, social awareness, and self-management. All stuff that you as parents are already doing, but we're trying to do the great work you're doing, include it in the school classroom curriculum. So the role of the counselor is, I see it as we bridge gaps. We're advocates for your students. I'm constantly telling students that if they have an issue with a teacher, or the principal, or a classmate, come to us and we'll help advocate for them. Ultimately, we want them to advocate for themselves. But I know something that I'm personally, my own personal growth since moving to Thailand is to be more culturally aware. And I know that in many Asian cultures, it's a lot more intimidating for the kids to speak to adults as it is in the West. So I'm trying to be very mindful of that. But my goal is for your kids to speak up for their needs. So the obvious, individual sessions, group sessions, conflict resolution, mediation. Mediation could be between, as I mentioned, classmates, could be between student and teacher. We keep track of academic progress, so oftentimes if your kid is failing a little in class, we notice that their grades are dropping, that's often a red flag for us, so we like to check in with those students. I mentioned Second Step. Ms. Chestnut and Ms. Kim are doing that, and I am investigating a woman doing great work in Tokyo on mindfulness in the classroom. So I'm hoping to bring that in for stress release, etc. And then WASC, under Sherry's leadership again, we have different committees and approve of her determination to make SEL important at the school. We have our own committee. We're working on how we can best serve your students, themselves, and teachers. We're also, Sherry, myself, we should, Ira, do you want to raise your hands so that everyone actually knows who you are? Ira is the Director of Student Support Team. And the nurses were working on a student protection policy. The counselors collaborate with SST, very important. A lot of the students who are struggling academically, there could be other stuff going on with SEL, so we'd like to collaborate. And, you know, collaboration is kind of like a buzzword, but honestly, counselors, it's our thing, it's what we do. Health center collaboration, I absolutely adore the nurses. They're very important to me. Often I find out stuff that's going on with your kids through the nurses. I know many parents have known Siam since her kids were this high, so she's just an amazing resource. Obviously we collaborate with teachers and college counseling. We'll get to that in a second. That's Ann and I. And then suicide and self-harm awareness. The counselors have done some training, but Dr. Sherry and I are looking at getting a little more in depth with that with teachers. It's, yeah, like she mentioned, some topics are a little touchy, but they're important. We do have kids at the school that self-harm, like every other school on the entire planet. Hopefully, you've seen the new webpage. Once a month, we're going to concentrate on a certain topic. The first one was anxiety, and we're hopefully going to give you parents and teachers and students helpful tips for each topic. And please, if there's a topic you want us to address, reach out. I am working on a 4-year plan for high school students and for you guys, which is knowing what you and your kids should expect each grade. So in grade 9, this is what you should be doing, grade 10, 11, 12. And then I touch on cultural awareness. That's just an ongoing thing for me personally, but also, so an example, I had a situation with where I had to do some conflict resolution, 2 kids from 2 very different cultures. And I came away from that not feeling like I'd done as good a job as I wanted to. And I realized part of that was these 2 kids saw conflict and how to resolve it very, very differently, just simply from their cultural upbringing. On, please step forward. This is Ms. An. Her official title is High School Academic Coordinator. She has skills that I do not have, full transparency. I'm beyond thrilled to have her here. So An works on college applications, essays, letters of recommendation. She's doing these higher education talks, which are amazing, almost every Wednesday. The latest one was on Thai portfolios. It's been Common App. She is inviting alumni to speak about their experiences of moving to colleges in different parts of the world. It's exciting. She has a university fair coming up soon. 15 universities will be represented here in the auditorium. And we've started having university reps on campus. Do you want to speak a minute about the internship?
I didn't prepare that. Okay. We try to make help students to have the experience in many fields. And the latest one is the Macoming internship. We have 21 students sign up from grade 9 to grade 12. But we have a few from grade 9 in the medical club. It will start in this October. They will have a chance to work in the hospital, like and internships in many departments for 30 hours. This is the coming that we have done. And also, I just would like to announce that tomorrow we have Boston University visit our CMIS. If parents are welcome, if you would like to talk to the representative from Boston University, please come. And next week, on Tuesday, we have representative from University of British Columbia from Canada. And Wednesday, we have 16 universities from America and the gymnasiums in the morning. So parents are welcome to, if you would like to talk or prepare your children for college admission in the future. Thank you.
Please, just like with me and the other counselors, feel free to meet privately with she's already meeting with parents. So I've seen two big themes here at CMIS, which are common internationally, but especially at this school. The first is the desire for perfectionism. It's not unusual for me to have a kid bawling their eyes out in my office because they got a B+. And the biggest one, and this applies to me, this has been a part of my journey as a human being, let alone a counselor, is asking for help. The hesitancy to ask for help I've found it concerns me. So I'm asking you guys for help, to talk to your kids about the importance of asking their teachers, asking me, asking admin for help, that there's no shame in asking for help. I remember my therapist, a long time ago, one of my therapists, talking to me about the fact that I was stubborn and I wouldn't ask for help as part of the culture. I grew up in Zimbabwe, which is a British colony, and it's very strict. And you just, pull your socks up and get on with it. And my therapist said to me, do you enjoy helping others? And I said, yes, very much. It brings me a lot of joy. And she said, then why are you denying people that joy? And that always stuck with me. So I beg of you, please tell your kids that there's no shame in asking for help. Every single person in this room has needed help at some point. And please reach out to me anytime, meet with me personally, come to campus, and I'll just end with one of my favorite quotes by Aldous Huxley, writer and philosopher. It's a little embarrassing that after 45 years of research and study, the best advice I can give to people is to be a little kinder to each other. Thanks for having me, everyone.
Do you guys have any questions for me, for the others? We can just kind of open it up. All right. I'm going to not ask for people to raise hands. I'm just going to pass it over.
Actually, Josh, it's back to you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Sherry, and the whole crew. How's everybody doing? Yeah? There's still some amazing tea back there. I've tried 3 of them. There's more to do. So I recommend you try on your way out so that we can close things up. And did you have a question? There's a question.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, thank you for having us. This is my first time to join the PTG, so it's good to join everyone. But just something that I learned for my first time. So just know that for the purpose of this is you want to build up the community of the peers, right? So that's why we can be participate to each other. But one of the things that I learned is that the channel of communication, you have a good things on the board. A lot of events and activity that are going on. But for myself, just for myself, it's I miss the part of that. Except Dr. Sri sent an email to us, like this morning my husband said like, hey, don't forget to go. Where is it? So I had to go back to Dr. Shri's emails and the detail of that. but also there's the channels to promote and communicate the activity that you have. I think line is good that you created to us, but think another way around that if there's some kids that have 3 kids in different classrooms, and if there's some group participate well, and some group doesn't. For example, I got one of the KG that they participate well. Next week there will be early dismiss, right? So they gather each other to go somewhere together to join some activity together. But another group of my kids silent. It doesn't mean that they are wrong, but it's the way of the communication to the parents. And also I have my work group as well. So a lot of things, going on in that line. But another way might be one-way communication. It's another something that you can create as a closed group or something that you can promote and share those kind of information. It's good information to share with other parents, and so you guys can bring on more parents to be participate in those kind of events that we have. I'd love to hear more and I'd love to join more of the activity. But to promote that, it might be what will happen, what's happened, and what's happening that might help more parents to join. Thank you. Thank you.
So I know that concern is being raised often for many years. I also have raised it many times with Tyler and Dr. Sherry, and I know there's some work being done. The challenge with today's day and age is there's a lot of ways to communicate and a lot of ways to share information. And in the end, I don't know if you want to share at all what you guys are working on or if there's anything.
So we are looking at a couple different ways to share and trying to come up with some priorities. So I'm hoping that later on this semester we could have parents and do like a focus group of like what would work. Josh has recommended an app called Remind, which I've used. I think it would also help because it would then translate so that we are actually able to communicate better and more equitable. So we're looking at a couple different ways of doing it. It's just finding something that will actually be an improvement from mine and everything. And I agree, we could use the CMIS line group better and push some stuff out. So thank you. If you know of apps and programs that have been used at other schools, email me. We're trying to get a list so that we can kind of explore some. Okay?
Are there any other questions or comments? Yeah.
I was just wondering what the difference is between a counselor and then the student-teacher support. Like, what are the functions between those two groups? Are they different or?
He's walking this way, so I'm just going to let him tell.
Good morning. So with a counselor will normally work with students. By the way, I'm Dr. Ira, student support. So with a counselor will work with the student, normally with social and emotional challenges. Student support normally more of academics. So essentially, take a student who reports to campus, goes through his day-to-day life through school, but they're having some academic challenges. Student support will then get involved to talk with the teacher, maybe provide some sort of differentiated instruction, scaffolding to support the student in the classroom. The counselor would provide that emotional support. So if a student is having a problem with peer interaction, the counselor would support the student in that way. They also proactively provide through the second step, provide the social and emotional counseling and instruction to students. So this takes place in the classroom or individually in the counselor's office. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you.
First of all, thank you for preparing this kind of chance to discuss each other today. I'm Korean and come from Korea. And then, as far as I know, a lot of parents may have a language barrier to discuss with school, right? And also, this is an international school, so that's why a lot of different countries people get together. But if the parent in case they doesn't have any problem to talk in English, it's okay. They can deliver directly what happened in school, what kind of problem they can figure out by themselves. But as an international school, I think the administration and the school, they have to, I think, prepare some kind of channel to talk with people who have a language barrier. So I want to know if the CMIS is prepared or have a plan to make a channel to talk with people or parents who cannot communicate well.
Thank you. Thank you for that. That's huge. We have been in talks with, so we have an execo, which is principals, me, and then Thai leadership also. And so we have been looking for advocates so that for events that we could bring in interpreters as we are looking at, like during conferences, we're going to have map data available here, and we're looking at making some displays so that they can be in each of the 4 major languages. So we're making strides. They're not big enough strides right now. They're not fast enough strides, but we do see that as one of our greatest needs. And so really trying to work and figure out, okay, how do we have people in here? Even for this meeting, I was struck, we had a CMIS church service at First Church, and they have you could get the translation. So, and at that event, I was like, that is what we need. We need so that you can come in. If you want translation, you can have a device, and we have someone that's doing a live translation. So there's parts and ideas, but just keep poking at us because we want to do it. And if you've seen something work other places, please let me know about that. Okay? Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thanks for those questions. Thank you, Dr. Sherry. If you have additional questions, there'll be some channels and avenues. You can email the leadership team. There's an email address which we'll send out. I think you can contact the school, obviously, at any time. And working on new opportunities to have a streamlined communication platform for things like this. And today, I don't think we have a slide up, but we'll send a survey about this particular meeting. And it's really short. It's like 1 to 10. Was this valuable for you? What did you like about it? What would you like us to change the next time? And it's optional. But if you can provide some feedback, then next month on October 20th, the meeting will probably better address your needs. So there's lots of tea and mooncakes still. Awesome stuff here. If you have a suggestion for the snack next month, let us know. Maybe there's a cool holiday in October that we don't know about. And before you leave, I have this one last piece of homework for you. So before you leave, just stand up, raise your hand, find one person that you haven't met yet, give them a high five, introduce yourself, say, this is who I am, I got 2 kids here, next month let's meet, or exchange your line number or whatever so that you can just meet one extra new person today. And then feel free to mill about. You don't have to leave, but we wanted to end on time. So on your way out, introduce yourself to one more person, and we'll see you in October. Come on.